good day everyone, and we are here to present the 5 big problems that architects can or must solve. So we are the presenters, Liboon, Diesis, Lopez, and Manalo. So first of all, according to the Chilean Pritzker Prize laureate, it says that architecture's potential to alleviate some of the world's problems comes from a balance between practicality and intelligence. So this means that as an architect, we're not just bound to create some designs, but also some solution for each designs and spaces to be efficient. Next is architects can find innovative solutions to the major global issues faced by governments all over the world today. So this means that we, as along the generations, we keep on finding much more better solutions, especially to our generation today, that our world is evolving, and so as we need to stick to sustainability in our designs. So it would be efficient and not just good in aesthetics, but also considering the aspects of our environment as well. So 5 architecture problems. First is large-scale housing. So what are the examples of large-scale housing? First off is relocation sites. Here in the Philippines, it's common. Then next, subdivisions, villages, estates, and much more. First is, what does large-scale development mean? So, a large-scale development is a development on a large zoning lot or several zoning lots planned as a unit that are contiguous or only separated by a street. So on the picture, this is a plan of a subdivision or a site development plan of a subdivision. We all know that large-scale development, from the word itself, large scale, so it's wide, gigantic, and consumes lots of space. Especially, it needs a lot of houses, contains lots of residents and spaces for the cars to pass by, and it is just separated by roads or streets. Next is, architects can be tasked with providing low-cost, durable housing options to the people of the lowest income groups, so that the slum areas can be redeveloped, keeping the genuine interest of existing occupants in mind, and not based on the decrees issued by the authorities of the city. So it means that as an architect, we are not just bound to create beautiful sceneries or greeneries, because we must also consider those people who are vulnerable in our community, such as those people who can't even afford to buy a decent house. So a large-scale housing is also considers those people who are vulnerable in our community. First example is relocation sites. This is also a type of large-scale housing, and also the materials used is not that expensive, and it fits their lifestyle. So here it says the lowest income group, so that the slum areas can be redeveloped, keeping the genuine interests of the existing occupants in mind. So we see lots of dead spaces in our cities, such as dump sites, garbage sites, or whatsoever. We redevelop this as a large-scale housing for us to accommodate lots of residents, and also to reduce high density in one place. Next is large-scale development can be less expensive to develop and operate than other types of development. Yes, so as I've said earlier, large-scale development doesn't need that lot or much of maintenance, such as, for example, comparing it to a condominium. Condo needs a lot of maintenance, especially to the building itself. You must make sure that it's durable, rigid, strength, all of that. On a large-scale housing situation, we get to use it naturally because it's just houses and trees grow everywhere, and it's just those people who's gonna maintain the cleanliness around. Next is large-scale development is typically less expensive to finance on a per unit basis. So what I've said earlier, that it's much more affordable than those units that we see in a condominium. Because if we compare that, we see a house that costs, for example, 1,000,000 pesos, comparing to a studio type unit costing 2,000,000 pesos. So you see that there is a big difference to that. And as if we are all practical, we would really choose that type of lot in large scale development because we get a lower price and we get lots of space, and we get to have our own house as well. Because if you live in a condominium, you get to pay for the maintenance, plus the building is not yours. But yes, you're paying for your unit, but the whole building is not yours. Large-scale housing strategies. So here, as a future architect, what are the strategies or solutions that we need to innovate for our future generations as well, and for this, to consider for our nation building too? First is remote areas converted into housing and place-making spots. So what does this mean? So in each cities, there are places that aren't combusted. These are far away areas that aren't near to the central. Thus, we need to utilize these spaces areas for potential large-scale housing and place for making spots for a new central area. So this means that in a city, there are a lot of dead spaces. For example, here in Cagayan de Oro City, these places are near to the centro but aren't that useful. So naming these places are like Canituan, Taguanao, Upper Lumbia. These areas has lots of free areas that has potential to be developed, but lots of people tend not to live by this area because it's too far for them, not too close, not too accessible, or even convenient for them. So in this new type of strategy, we convert these areas into a newer place-making spots. So what are place-making spots? There is a connectivity inside a community. We put some commercial, residential, office, business into one area for them to not just focus on one central point in the city, but also to scatter it all around. For example, in Lumbia, let's first say, for example, we put a shopping mall in Lumbia for people to invest at this place as well, because we get to be we get to get high density in one area here in Cagayan de Oro City. Next is large scale housing, new doors for new citizens through placemaking. So what does this mean? Influx of population are now rising towards urban areas because of new opportunities. Thus, these large-scale areas might be the answer to a new style of living. In a large-scale community, placemaking is applied for people to earn, play the economy, and trade. Within the small community, there is an exchange of goods and cost, making it effective. So, what I've said earlier, na we utilize these remote areas as a new place-making hotspots and convert them into new central points of the city, not for just not just for the citizens to focus on the old central spot of the city, but also to scatter it all around and gain new opportunities as well, as for example a mall placed in Lumbia or in Taguana, so that these areas would be useful as well, because these dead spaces has lots of potential for large-scale housing.
Problem 2: Redevelopment of urban infrastructure. What is redevelopment of urban infrastructure? Urban redevelopment is conceptually similar to land readjustment, with the exception that it happens in existing urban areas and often involves a rezoning by the government of a given area from a low-density single-family housing to higher-density mixed-use or commercial development. Comprehensively systemized measures for urban redevelopment on a long-term basis, thereby aiming to ensure fair guidance and planned promotion of redevelopment. What is low-density development? Low-density development refers to the construction of urban individual houses on larger lots. What is high-density development? Higher density simply means new residential and commercial development at a density is higher than what it is typically found in an existing community. What is urban sprawl? Urban sprawl is the unrestricted growth in many urban areas of housing, commercial development, and roads over large expanses of land with little concern of urban planning. Reasons for redevelopment. First is government assembles the individual private properties and undertakes a new higher development plan and delivers the necessary infrastructure. Second is a government returns to each landowner a share of the overall new development that is equivalent to their original land or property ownership. It retains a share of the development that it then sells to recover the cost of the infrastructure improvement. Third is government envisions to recreate an infrastructure or community to be more. What are urban infrastructures? Urban infrastructure can be envisioned as an integrated network of four major infrastructure components, which are the water infrastructure, which can be water treatment plants, the energy infrastructure, for example, are power plants that provides electricity, the transportation infrastructure that can be airports and bus terminals, and the land use pattern or the urban form, which are cities and other communities. Challenges with urban infrastructure. There are numerous challenges that rises within a community in urban areas, and these are the following: population concentration in urban sprawl, water sanitation and transport, housing in slums, increase in crime, rising cost of living and wealth inequality, environmental pollution and degradation, sustainable improve physical life quality. 5 ways to make cities more resilient and sustainable for development. First is urban transport systems needs to become sustainable. Second is implement nature-based solutions work for cities. Third is develop community networks that can support urban disaster resilience. Four, Fourth is integrate smart solutions that can improve urban livelihoods. And lastly is collaboration of cities, countries, international bodies. Benefits of redevelopment. In cities, urban redevelopment is carried out to change the nature of a place, often the intention to improve the built environment and improve the quality of life of the urban area. It contributes to develop a city's comprehensive vision, improves the physical, economic, and social condition of a city, therefore enhance the competitiveness of the city. This tends to improve community facilities, create job opportunities, generate government revenue, improve physical life conditions, develop opportunities for future development and modernity.
The third problem that architects can solve or must solve is to reduce the large-scale production of greenhouse gases. I am Libon Francis Lian, and I'll be the one reporting. What are greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases warm the globe by trapping heat in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor, as well as fluorinated gases, are the major gases responsible for the greenhouse effect. Buildings produce 6.4% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. What are greenhouse gas emissions? Coal, oil, and natural gas combustion for electricity and heat accounts for 1/4 of all human-caused emissions, making it the most significant single source of greenhouse gas emissions. The industrial sector, which includes the manufacturing of goods and raw materials, such as cement and steel, food processing, and construction, accounts for around 1/5 of the worldwide human-driven emissions. So there are 5 key ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in building construction. First is to implement efficiency in material design. Second is to reuse building materials and components. Third is to enhance existing building utilizations. And fourth is to switch high-emission materials to sustainable timber. The last one is to use low-carbon cement. Efficiency in material design. In the construction industry, a variety of environmentally friendly building materials have arisen. The article emphasizes the goals of lowering steel and cement used in building, noting that cement materials account for 32% of total emissions from material consumption, while steel accounts for 15%. The reuse of building materials and components. The long-term climatic benefits of recycling and lowering construction components, like virgin steel, which could reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 3% between 2017 up to 2050. The third one is to enhance existing building utilization. So, probably buildings are underutilized and frequently discarded before they have reached the end of their useful life. According to the research resulting in greenhouse gas emissions that could have been avoided. By 2050, effective use of existing space and infrastructure might result in an 11% decrease and greenhouse gas emissions, and a 10% to 20% reduction in need for new structures. The fourth one is to switch high-emission materials to sustainable timber. Switching to sustainable timber in construction could reduce GHG emissions by 6% between 2017 and 2050. According to the report, which calls for a progressive target of 70% residential and 50% commercial buildings being built with sustainable timber by 2050. The last one is the usage of low-carbon cement. We know that concrete is one of the most carbon-intensive construction materials since the cement component demands tremendous heat and emits a significant amount of carbon dioxide. According to the paper, between 2017 and 2050, utilizing low-carbon alternatives to typical cement could reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 6%. So, one of the major contributors to global warming is artificial ventilation. Architects must take the lead in explaining to their gentle clients the advantages of employing indigenous materials and also using vernacular design ideas in order for their buildings to have more favorable influence on the health of their users and also to the environment. So here's 8 tips to reduce your building carbon footprint. Reducing carbon footprint is also requisite in building design. Number 1, start early. You must assist and measure the carbon footprint of your building design as early as possible in the process. As Andrea Charlson, Senior Engineer of Advanced Technology and Research at Arup in London, adds that is when there are the largest chances of reduction for GHG emissions. Second is HVAC. Schedule heating and cooling systems to turn on at predetermined times. Depending on the season, let the system run hotter or cooler during off hours. Sensors can be installed in a building to measure indoor air quality and determine how much ventilation is required. This will make your HVAC system use less power and natural gas. It will lower your energy bills and lower the building's carbon footprint. Third is continuous insulation. Except for fasteners and service openings, an insulation that is continuous over all structural parts with no thermal breaching. It can be found in the inside, outside, or as part of any building's opaque surface. Continuous insulating conserves energy and lowers carbon emissions. It combines thermal, air, water, and vapor control layers into a single system, making construction easier. Fourth is lighting. Make use of cutting-edge lighting and make the most of natural light. In a typical commercial facility, lighting accounts for over 40% of the energy consumed. Solar control window films can reduce carbon footprints by up to 30% by lowering energy costs. Open-plan offices and light-colored interior finishes aid in the distribution of daylight throughout the structure. Increase natural light with high-performance curtain wall systems that include integrated sunshades and light shelves. Daylighting solutions that are properly implemented can minimize HVAC peak loads, resulting in lower mechanical equipment capacity and a lower carbon footprint. Fifth, recycled content. Choose environmentally friendly building materials that are recyclable. Support eco-friendly vendors and suppliers. Since steel is the most recycled resource in the world, metal building systems are the best product for sustainability and green, says Wes Broker, Marketing Development Manager of American Buildings Corporation in Eufaula, Alabama. 6. Water usage. Water usage can be reduced by using water-saving fixtures and appliances. When compared to traditional toilets, specify high-efficiency toilets with lower average flush volumes. Rainwater can be used as a valuable water source. Design buildings to collect rainwater and generate outdoor spaces that are mostly irrigated by rain. Rainwater collecting and serescaping can save up to 50% on outdoor water usage. Because rainwater collected directly from a building's roof does not have to be drinkable for flushing toilets, irrigation, or washing machines. It has a minimal carbon footprint. Renewable energy. So, the carbon footprint of a building can be minimized by obtaining operational energy from ecologically friendly sources or producing renewable energy on site. Solar air heating, solar electric photovoltaic or PV systems, and solar water heating can permanently eliminate a portion of the requirement for conventional energy by using walls or roof of a structure. So, 8. Location. The location of a building has an impact on its carbon footprint and the possibility for carbon buildup in the environment. Is the structure surrounded by a deteriorated or pristine ecosystem? Is it possible to repair an ecosystem while building a structure? The building's carbon footprint is also reduced by its location near public transportation. So that would be all.
Hi, good day. My name is Walter Lopez II, and problem number 4 is design for inclusivity. So, what is all-inclusive design? All-inclusive design is an architectural strategy used to create buildings that accommodate people of all types, whether building a school, civic center, or healthcare facility. Every design decision made could potentially exclude or alienate end users. So these are the demographic factors: age, gender, sexual orientation, education, income, religion, cultural beliefs, ethnicity, language, physical capability, mental health. All of these factors can impact how an end user uses a facility. By creating all-inclusive spaces and implementing features that speak to the need and comfort of people of all walks of life, you can reduce end-user stress and provide everyone with comfortable and efficient access to all of a building services. How to support diversity using all-inclusive design. When designing a building that supports humanity from cradle to grave, you need to identify points of exclusion, areas that causes people to feel alienated, and eliminate them. To do this, follow these steps. Step 1. Get community feedback. Conduct community-wide surveys and hold meetings with support groups in the area to understand exactly what people need and don't need in a building to feel comfortable. Step 2. Acknowledge biases and privilege. Do research to gain awareness of the issues that impact members of your community. You might not be aware of your hurdles if you don't experience them on a daily basis. Step 3. Focus on equality of experience. Provide easy, comfortable access so that all users share in your building's experience and amenities. Meeting the bare minimum accessibility standard isn't enough. You must seamlessly incorporate all-inclusive design details and solutions in ways that feel natural to everyone and don't single out some visitors from others. Designing all-inclusive design spaces for education, healthcare, and civic sectors. Education. Students learn differently. Not every children is able to perform tasks that other children find simple. One student may understand a lesson perfectly when it's in lecture format, while other might have trouble hearing the teacher, and this might present a design challenge. But classroom visual aids such as television screens and electronic blackboards can resolve this problem. Healthcare. At the healthcare level, architects must design spaces that foster well-being and soothe people from all walks of life. When creating a new hospital, outpatient center, or medical office, the physical challenges and mobility limitations of end user are a dual focus of architects, who must make sure that everyone can navigate a building comfortably, efficiently, and safely. So these are the recommended healthcare features to be all-inclusive. First, wide path and hallways. Outdoor walkways and indoor corridors should easy to navigate by foot, wheelchairs, and other mobility devices. Next, ramps that are less than the code required, 1:12 slope. Consider smaller slopes so that bariatric, semi-ambulatory, and wheelchair patient can easily navigate. This also makes it easier for nurses who sometimes cannot push heavy gurney up to 1:12 slope surfaces. Next, digital kiosk. Allow patients to check in for appointment using digital touch screens or by speaking into a microphone at a kiosk in the lobby. Next, handrails and automatic doors. Make hallway navigation easier by featuring handrails on walls and doors that open automatically on approach if operationally allowed. Next, video conferencing. This is especially useful when the patient is immobile and can't get to a hospital, or if one doctor needs to discuss treatment options with another doctor in a different city or state. Next, safe flooring. Shock absorbent, non-slip flooring will help prevent injuries from falls. Lastly, smart layout design. Locate nurse station close to patient rooms and with clear line of sight. High visibility means that staff can respond to every patient's need as quickly as possible. Civic. In designing a civic sector, architects have to consider the need of every demographic. Here are a few civic facilities for which all-inclusive design delivers services your community relies on every day. All-inclusive civic design features. First, courthouses. Digital maps at the front entrance may help visitors easily find and navigate courtrooms and offices. Other features such as soft landscaping, curvilinear paths, and windows that provide daylight in corridors will make the building feel more welcoming and less intimidating to visitors. This thoughtful design will also encourage more public use. Library and community centers. The elevator and public computer in every library and a community center should respond to both tactile and auditory command so that everyone can use them. Instruction and navigation guidance should be offered in Braille. Moreover, consider mobile features that can easily rearrange to accommodate wheelchairs. Correctional facilities. Behavioral challenges are factors when designing a correctional facility for adults or juveniles. As such, safety should be the first priority. Creating open community areas with high visibility and an observation station at the center will help your staff see and quickly resolve safety threats. These open areas also make inmates feel less confined, which can help a positive impact on their mental health and behavior and encourages rehabilitation. Architects can use their design skills to create an environment that is not only sensitive and inclusive but also creates awareness among the users as the need of each other. This can be instrumental in bringing about open awareness and general acceptance of humanity in its multi-hued personas. Architectural needs to be mindful of these factors and devise thoughtful, inclusive measures for the comfort and well-being of people across various strata.
Problem 5. Creating and preserving the heritage. Creating and preserving heritage is the process of protecting the built heritage and conserving the local traditional and cultural values of communities. It is an act of preserving local treasures of the past from both man-made and natural disasters so that future generations can still experience it. Since natural and cultural heritage sites, museums, libraries, and archive collections around the world are increasingly becoming the collateral victims of natural disasters and armed conflicts. What is heritage? Heritage is our legacy from the past, what we live with today, and what we pass on to the future generations. Our cultural and natural heritage are both irreplaceable source of life and inspiration. Heritage encompasses tangible and intangible, natural and cultural, movable and immovable, and documentary assets inherited from the past and transmitted to future generations by virtue of their irreplaceable value. Examples of different heritages. World Heritage designated sites include the following: Great Barrier Reef, located in eastern Australia; the Amazon rainforest from northern western Brazil; the Great Wall of China, from the northern borders of ancient China; the Egyptian pyramid located at Giza; Greater Cairo from Egypt. The problem of preservation, restoration, and reconstruction of the world architectural heritages. According to UNESCO, the task preserving history concerns both individual cities and the world as a whole. The Russian philologist Dmitry Tkachev accurately stated the essence of the problem, and he quoted, "A person who does not like to see old photos of his parents does not appreciate them. And if a person is indifferent to his historical monuments, then he is indifferent to his country." Failure to preserve historical heritages may lead to loss of cultural identity, downfall of the economy, community faction, and the outbreak of war and other forms of political instability and poverty. How can we create and preserve heritage? Creating heritage is increasingly defined as an economic development tool. However, in order to conclusively gauge heritage-related economic impacts, measurements, tools, methodologies must be implemented and evaluated. Provided a survey of recent methodological approaches for measuring the economics of the heritage's development, and these are the following that must be considered. First is social impacts, heritage tourism, property values, center city revitalization, and job and household income. How to preserve heritage? There are many ways to preserve heritage according to UNESCO, and these are the following. We can create awareness, promote cultural heritage, pass down historical information, and incorporate into academical and institutional teachings. According to UNICEF, there are multiple ways to promote cultural heritage, and this can be in the form of the following: heritage festivals, freedom walks, heritage trail, heritage walk, heritage awards, street plays, heritage newspapers, promotion of heritage in education. Benefits Benefits of preserving heritage. Cultural heritage is central to protecting our sense of who we are, give us an irrefutable connection to the past, certain social values, beliefs, customs, and tradition that allow us to identify ourselves with others and deepen our sense of unity, belonging, and national pride. Second is heritage is a valuable factor for empowering local communities and enabling vulnerable groups to participate fully in social and cultural life. Can also provide time-tested solutions for conflict prevention and reconciliation. Can also improve growth of the local economy and create opportunities to tourism.
Lastly, as we end this report, we realize how complex architecture can be. This has been an eye-opener for us considering the impact that architecture has to the world, not only on aesthetics, not only on design, not only for creating buildings after buildings after buildings, no. But most importantly, architecture impacts the people, it impacts our environment, it impacts our culture. And as architecture students, this is a great challenge for us to strive hard, to do better, and to look beyond the design aspect of architecture and look more closely on the impact that our creation and our designs will contribute to the world. That's all for us. Thank you. This has been a pleasure. God bless. Bye bye.